Hello, my name's Barry. Welcome to Christianity Today. And I wasn't joking with that thumbnail. For those for those who play with fire, oh boy. And it seemed like quite a few different brothers and sisters, at least I hope they are deciding to play with fire on some issues that we'll be covering. Mm. Mm. Hmm. Right. For the first agenda, I think it's important to talk about what this strange thing I've been hearing about. Believers attacking believers. I know this on YouTube, with Christian YouTube. I know this has been going on. I had different sources that said, Barry, this is like cycles. It comes and goes. But you have in the Southern camp all of them. And unfortunately, more recently, it seemed to explode all the more because of politics. To be more precise, Turning Point USA. Now, I'm going to put out this fact for you. I used to watch Flashpoint up to about a year ago. And occasionally, Gene Bailey, who was the host of that show, would often mention a young man named Charlie Kirk. Okay, that's nice. I don't recall Gene, who not only is the host of Flashpoint and his little motley crew, Lance Wallnau, Harry Kuhneman, and whoever else. His boss, Gene, is Kenneth Copeland. Yet I don't recall him saying that Turning Point was somehow a Christian ministry. No, it was often presented as a political entity with some Christian principle and ideas sprinkled in and layered in. Okay? Now, with all the rhetoric and the commentary, I'm inclined to believe Gene Bailey's description a heck of a lot more than I would anybody else. Because he would know. And now, then imagine my surprise when I find out that, wow, he's a committed Christian, and he does had the opportunity to share the gospel. Wow. And I'm sorry to hear what happened, and my prayer is, Father, I just ask for your healing on Erica Kirk and the children. Ask for wisdom, Father, in the midst of this. And there would be a revelation of who you are in the midst of that. That's about short and that. Now, I was surprised to hear how this was turning into a religious thing. And somehow a political organization that was that has some veneer of Christianity, it suddenly turned into a Christian ministry. Guys, I don't think so. Was Charlie a Christian? Yes. Was he martyred? Yes. Now, and I respect my brothers who have said, yes, he died. Some say who said that he died as a Christian martyr, and others said, no, it was political. Fine. I respect and love my brothers who have different views. That's fine. But yet, when I heard recently, Justin Peters decided to speak up on some of the issues and concerns he had. The co-mingling of political fervor and Christianity merged in together, and the pairing that was not good. Now, for the record, folk, in order to have a political entity that is going to push Christian value, you cannot be espousing a particular specific doctrinal view. Instead, you have to do a political version of conservatism. Sorry, folks, but I hate to break it to you, but it seems I must do it again and again and again. Christianity is not conservatism. Again, conservatism is not the same as Christianity. They can't be. Yes, there are conservative values and ideas in Christianity, but it's not the same. And it grieves me and angers me when certain individuals who profess to represent Christianity in the political sense mix the two. I'm like, guys, you're heading for trouble, and that's exactly what we got because of the commingling. And when somebody who I normally don't think to go say it, but and I will. Go Justin! Go Justin Peters! And speaking up and telling people that, hey, what you're doing Christianity-wise is not good. You're calling for a merging of two things that should not be, because you cannot have ecumenism between Mormons who have a conservative view or Catholicism with what is historical Christianity. I will agree with him on that. And I understand he is not crazy about the extreme word of faith and all that. Great. Especially because there was a problem in some of the teaching. I get that. But I do hope Justin is taking note of some of the serious problems that are in his own camp, the reform. Namely Doug Wilson and some of these other guys who had or Joel Webben. I do hope he does. Because that branch is wrapped in the same thing that he says NAR is, and that is Christian nationalism, and a very unhealthy version. Like, this is what I mean by playing with warning for those who play with fire. You think something is a great idea, surely God will bless something like this. No. Christian nationalism has been tried many times in the past. Okay? It really has. For my Reformed brothers and sisters, I strongly suggest you take a good look at John Calvin and that wonderful experiment with the Swiss. You know, those time and what he was trying to do in his area when he had control through the state. And there's also not the Baptists, so they certainly got persecuted by the state for their religious conviction. Hey, but it was a Christian nation. What's wrong? Guess what? I could keep going on to others. Lutherans had to know better because of their wonderful experience with the Anabaptists. Are you getting the pattern here and over here? No. And yet, to mark it off, you have people in my stream, the Pentecostal Charismatics, who seem to want to go right along and repeat the same error. Oh, when will they ever learn? And I kind of feel sorry for Justin, because he's getting hammered by people for what? Standing up for what he believes? Last time I checked, Scripture does not tell us that we're supposed to blindly agree with each other. Instead, it tells us something very remarkable. And it's a scripture which I remember quite a bit. It's from 1 John chapter 4, starting with 20 to the end of that chapter. I thought it was some other kind of battle, and it might be, where Christians were attacking other Christians for something and making attack videos. Okay, just in case that's a part of it, let's rope that in. Here's the scripture that I was going to read for you. It's right here. Starting with verse 20. If anyone says, I love God, and hates his brother or sister, he is a liar. He's a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen. And this commandment we have from him: whoever loves God must also love his brother. Yeah. And there's another one in chapter 2, same epistle, which says, if anyone who loves the Lord walks in the light, he is assumed he's going to love his brother. However, if he says, I love God, but hates his brother whom he has seen, not only is he a liar, he walked in darkness. In chapter 3, he who hates his brother murders him. Oh, God. I'm not kidding. Read it for yourself. In other words, just because I have some theological disagreement, and yes, you can rope political into this, I am not to hate my brother, Justin Peter, merely because he is a hardline Calvinist, a hardline cessationist, which is more important, and has serious difficulty believing that God could work through imperfect, flawed person. That's my understanding of him. But guess what? I'm supposed to love my brother, regardless of my opinion. And to back that up, Romans chapter 14. I'll give you the nutshell version. It's based on this one key verse. There's more to it than that, actually. And that says the actual chapter is about eating of meat and not destroying your brother for the sake of food. If you who eat meat and have no problem with it, you're not to look down on your brother who feels that he or she can only eat vegetable. And you vegetarian, listen up, bro. You are not supposed to look down at your meat-eating brother. Uh-oh. Yeah. But wait, but Matt, who are you saying my brother? Well, both Justin and I do believe in the Trinitarian view of God. We know that God created everything. His Son came to earth in the form of a human being. He was born of a Virgin Mary. He was fully human and fully God. I know I'm not exactly accurate. Sorry. He lived a sinless life. He paid, and at the appointed time, after he'd done all kinds of miracles and signs to clue us in on who he is, he paid the atoning price for our sin, because he was the only one who could do that. He died on the cross under order of Pontius Pilate and the Jewish leader. He was pierced for transgression by stripe. I'm adding a little bit more because I'm trying to paint the magnitude of what he went through for us. He died on that cross, separated from the Father. He became sin for our sake. He was buried and placed in a tomb, that is, for 3 days. On the third day, he rose up victorious over the gates of hell, and oh boy, now he is the risen Lord who is seated at the right hand of the Father. And one day, he's going to come back to judge both the living and the dead. And it's through Christ. And his name is above any other name, and it's the only one in whom we can get the free gift of salvation. He died for our sin. He paid the price for us. So, yes. But did you notice I said nothing about a certain secondary gift, like spiritual gift, which I happen to believe are for today? He doesn't. Guess what? I'm not to look down at him, and he's not to look down on me. Oh, yeah. We're to accept the other brother regardless of our opinion. Is it okay if he's not too thrilled about some of the hyper-charismatic craziness, which puts... Yeah, it's okay. But that does not make him a heretic any more than me believing that the gift of today a heretic. Oh. Am I making sense to you guys? Yeah. Oh well. That's one area I did feel a need to talk. And we need to be really careful about the stuff that we say and not sit in judgment. Lest we be judged by the same measure we're judging others. And I'm not quoting the one from Matthew chapter 7, but the one from Luke, where Jesus warned about the measure that we use when judging. For it will be measured to us by that same standard. We need to be careful with stuff like this. That's part of why I have said, warning for those who play with fire, you'll get burned and hurt by those kind of reckless enforcement. And we need to think. And why would you act in ways to destroy your brother for whom he died for as he did for you? Wow. Yeah. That's why I never felt free to condemn somebody, because they have a different view. I can feel hurt, a little frustrated. Yes. And thankfully, I've been blessed with some people who help me with that. Now let's move on to the next thing. If I recall correctly, let me... Oh wait, I do have my notes, so to speak. Doc. Green information. Yeah. Yes. No, I see. I was just checking my notes to see, make sure I'm on track. And I wanted to point out to something else that I ran into. Okay. Normally, I'll talk with you guys about the positive aspect of using AI. Unfortunately, I need to point out the negative. The other day, I saw a very strange thing. A guy was so wrapped up in using chat to explore something that was not good. He was literally going down a rabbit hole. And he was actually deceived. On the one hand, it would be easy to blame chat, because the way chat was designed, its programming kind of forces it to like say, okay, I'm gonna, because it's your belief and everything, I'm not gonna say anything negative or derogative, so I'll affirm what you're saying. And hopefully, you would hope that the barriers or the guardrail was step in and say, you need to tell them no. But if you're just chasing a conspiracy theory, I guess it's okay. And the reason I was concerned was not so much because he was chasing a deceptive lie, but he was putting it out on YouTube. Here's why. Because people watch that thing. And if you've seen one of my earlier videos, I showed a woman who was saying, oh wow, look at that. Chat interpreted my prayer language for me. No, it didn't. It just basically repeated to what she already told it. And this guy was just being firm in his delusion about what he was believing. And that's the other thing. He was playing with fire because he's using a tool in a way that it was not supposed to be used. And it can cause a problem. And worse, it can act, what he was doing is unwittingly encourage others to say, wow, I wonder what thing chat could help me uncover in my thing. And totally ignore. In fact, when I was watching that video, I saw the guardrail that was there. And it was like, it's like he wanted to ignore the fact that guardrail was meant to keep him from getting into deeper trouble. And that's not good. It is cringing to me. Cause chat doesn't have a moral compass, doesn't have anything that'll say, okay, hey, I want to affirm what you're saying, but and think something like that. But it can only go with what its developer tells it. So it's kind of stuck. Now, I do remember a scripture that kind of goes right with that mess. Genesis, towards the end of chapter 3. You know, the part where the Lord confronts Adam and Eve and asked Adam, did you eat of the fruit for which I told you not to? What did Adam say? The woman you, God, gave me the apple, and I ate. It was actually a fruit, but all right. So much for that one. The lady goes, the serpent deceived, and I ate. Okay. The problem was neither one of them was willing to admit and say, I sinned. I ate when I should not have ate. So I may be a little bit more sympathetic to the woman because she was deceived, but she still had to take responsibility for what she chose to do. He needed to take responsibility for what he chose to do, and the reality that he basically let his wife down and not stopping her. How does this relate? Well, let's put it this way. People, I notice a lot of times, tend to blame the tool rather than say, okay, yeah, it would be nice if the tool did A, B, C, but in the end, you, the human being, need to take responsibility for what it is. It's a tool. That's it. But if you do it, act foolishly, or use it in a way that you're not supposed to, guess what? It's going to cause problems. And really do not like these things. And unfortunately, it also encourages people to engage in their own mess. And a lot of this comes unfortunately, from false positivity. I'm just going to say it's positive because I don't want to say something negative. That's not good. All right. Mm. Mm. All right. Wow. hmm the thing that really is needed is another part of the problem is this. And I was listening to a video from that where Justin was talking to a gentleman. I think it's Gospel something. I don't remember the name, but okay, I understand he's a little wary and skeptical because of all the revival and that. It's like, are these people really hearing the gospel? Is it okay? Fine. How about this? And yes, I know about the grateful. How about this? Instead of complaining, and he had some legitimate concerns, but why not do something positive about the situation? Instead of allowing biblical illiteracy to cause people to go into greater danger. Yeah, that's the other fire I wanted to mention. Because if we don't do something to encourage these people to get it not only into sound church and that, but also maybe some of us who do content perhaps put something on the internet to help people learn how to study effectively. I mean, seriously. I'm thankful that I'm learning right now how to exegete the scripture and how to put things together. I didn't really have that before. Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if someone had put together, okay, this is how you do this. That would have been helpful and a great blessing. Now, there may have been, but I didn't know where to look for it. I want to encourage you, my brothers and sisters, think of ways to help people, because a lot of these people are going to be coming in, and a lot of churches are not equipped to handle that. And if these people don't learn to put down a deep root, yeah, they are going to fall away, right? And some of it would have been preventable. And I suggest we take heed to that. I want you to take note of something I just did. Even though I have some disagreement with Justin Peter, I didn't toss it out the door because he's a Calvinist. No, I said, okay, you know what? I have a somewhat different view, but you're right, bro. You do have a valid point, and you're right. Let's do something about this so they do plant seeds and that they don't get thrown about as you are rightly concerned about. Nothing. If you're ever listening, please put in a comment if you think that would have been a better response and a good one. And if that's what he was doing, was intending with that, then good. Then they'll be happy to know somebody was actually listening. And I'm already moving towards doing. And I think that's kind of what needs to be done. All right. I'm not going to worry if this... Yeah. I realized that I came in at a somewhat different time, and I don't always get a whole lot, but the point of these videos is to be a blessing and a help. Now, I'm also aware that there's a lot of changing dynamic with YouTube and that. Guys, I encourage you to not yield to the flesh, to the nature. Alright? I don't even pay attention to a lot of the drama. I'm trying to stay focused on what's going on in my lane. And staying away from the drama. But then again, with GE Talk Show, okay, you're going to run into it. Alright, I'm going to stop. There really isn't too much I wanted to cover, but I just wanted to give out some warning and say, whoa, and point. I should circle back to the TPUSA. Did any of that stuff change my view? Yes, Christians should get involved. No ifs, ands, or buts. I just don't buy into the Christian Prince idea, which is a part of dominionism. Oh. No. But they should, because Christians can have a very positive effect by getting involved. Remember, Daniel, I know he was Jewish. He had some positive effects, yes, in spite of it, of what was going on. Esther, same thing. Not the, hey, she was queen. For such a time as that, she was put there by God. And wait, in all fairness, that for such a time as that, her uncle Mordecai was there. And because he was kind of like the guardian and looked after the young woman who would eventually be king. I mean queen, sorry, my mistake. Oh. But I think you get the idea. We all have a part to play. Alright. I want to thank you folks for your time. And hope you have a blessed day. And see ya when I see ya.